my fellow readers. My name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky, where I start with the history and literature of the American West, and then I gallop off into whatever direction I feel like. Today's video is a roundup of week 2 of the event June on the Range, created by Michael K. Vaughn, co-hosted by myself and a bunch of other people. So I'm going to talk about what I read, and some of the movies I watched in this second week. I'll start with the one novel that I finished this week. It's called Chip of the Flying U. That's the letter U, not the sheep U. It's written by B.M. Bauer. That's the pen name of Bertha Muzzy Sinclair. And she wrote a ton of Westerns in the early 1900s. This particular one came out in 1906. She was, for the most part, the first woman to be known for writing Westerns. So she's writing shortly after Owen Wister wrote The Virginian, in the very early days of what Zane was doing. It's set on a ranch in Montana. That's where B.M. Bauer is from. So she understood writing about Montana. It's a ranch in Montana. The man who runs it is a bachelor. He has a sister who lives back east, by which we mean Ohio. So that is a sign of a true Western right there. You think Ohio is back east. And I do. Anyway, the sister comes out. The brother seems to be probably in his 30s, and he owns and runs a cattle ranch. The sister is in her early 20s, 22 or 23, and has just finished medical school. So that's pretty impressive. She's early in the medical field in the United States. She comes out to Montana to visit her brother. One of the ranch hands is Chip, our title character. Chip's the one who is sent to meet the sister. Her name is Della Whitmore. He's sent to meet Della at the train station. He picks her up. He's not really sure what to think about her. These citified women are kind of scary. So he picks her up, and they're driving back to the ranch. And one of the first things that Della wants to do, they see a coyote. And of course, coyotes have a reputation for killing calves and lambs and other livestock. And so Chip is going to shoot the coyote, and Della says, "How about you let me do it?" And she does. So that's one of the very first things that we learn about Della, is that she's a clear shot with a rifle. And they go on into the ranch, and you get all the fun stories about ranch life: the runaway horses, the wagons that are out of control, the horses that get spooked and carry away their riders and have to be chased down, horses who break through fences, cattle who get themselves lost and cows who lose their calves, cowboys who have to fight off wolves and other predators. Very nicely done. There's a fairly simple love story between Chip and Della, which is never highly passionate. It's just a slow burn. Very nicely done. Chip he does his cowhand work, but he's really more excited about painting and drawing. And it's he gets in an accident and twists his ankle, and Dell is the one who helps him heal, but he's off his feet for weeks, months, and during this time, not only does he get to know Dell a little better, he also really hones his art. Things happen. It's a really great story, well done, definitely a Western, with a bit of romance, and really, it's worth reading. You can find it. I've read 2 books by B.M. Bauer. This is the second one. I also read The Ranch at the Wolverine, which I also love. That one was set in Idaho. I don't think you can go too far wrong with B.M. Bauer. It's hard to find her books in print, but you certainly can find them on Project Gutenberg. So that's an author. If you don't know B.M. Bauer, it's an author worth looking into. And if you do know B.M. Bauer, it's an author worth looking into more deeply. The cowboy poem I read this month is The Man from Snowy River by Banjo Paterson. You can find it in my cowboy poetry playlist. Banjo Paterson is Australian, and most of the stories that he wrote were about the Australian outback, and mostly about cattlemen and other livestock raisers in Australia. So while it's not set in the American West, it certainly has that Western feel to it, partly because just like we here in America talk about the West as having a lot of our mythology about what America was and could be, Australia has a very similar mythology about the outback. Banjo Paterson, probably best known for writing Waltzing Matilda, the unofficial national anthem of Australia. It's a jolly swag man sat beside a billabong. You probably all know that song. This is The Man from Snowy River. It was originally published in 1890 in a magazine called The Bulletin. It was collected in 1895 in The Man from Snowy River and Other Verses. This is a story about a horse. It's a poem, but it's a story. So we can call it a ballad. Because it tells the story of a colt that gets loose, a prize colt, a colt that the owner is very proud of, who gets away from the station and joins a herd of wild horses. And the station owner brings everybody together from all the neighboring stations and ranches to go and find his colt and the rest of the wild bunch of horses. And one of the people who shows up is the Man from Snowy River, who's on a smaller pony. He's kind of a thinner, more wiry guy. And he's not sure whether he'll be allowed to go, but his friend Clancy of the Overflow, Clancy speaks up for him and says, this man and this horse are mountain bred, and they're exactly who you want with you on this quest. So they go, they find the horses, they chase the horses go through country that is hardly traversable. And there's a point when they head down a steep mountainside and everybody gives up except the Man from Snowy River, who continues to chase them. It's a great poem. I learned about it first from the film that came out in 1982. So the film then in the theaters, I think I went back and actually saw that one multiple times in the theaters, like 3 times. Paid money 3 times. was such a great, enjoyable film from Australia, and so it had a lot of Australian actors who I'd never heard of, but it also starred Kirk Douglas. You can't go wrong with Kirk Douglas. He plays the bad guy. Works out really well. So that's a film worth watching. I haven't watched it in a long time, but if you're looking for June on the Range ideas, Man from Snowy River is pretty good. The poem is great. I also have in that cowboy poetry playlist Banjo Paterson's poem In the Droving Days. So there are a couple of Banjo Paterson poems if you are up to exploring those, and I think they're definitely worth exploring. All right, let's turn to films. I was inspired by Roy from Roy Reads Anything, who is, as part of his June on the Range explorations, is reading a Hopalong Cassidy novel. Hopalong Cassidy is a character created by Clarence Mulford. I think the first Hopalong Cassidy story was published in 1904. And there were a series of films starring William Boyd as Hopalong Cassidy. The first one, Hopalong Cassidy Returns, is the one that I watched. It's from 1935. William Boyd made, I believe, 66 Hopalong Cassidy films over the course of about 15 years, the 30s and 40s. This one's enjoyable, and of course he has a co-star in a horse named Topper, who's an important part of the story. May not be as famous as Roy Rogers' Trigger or Gene Autry's Champion, but Topper, still a pretty famous horse. Anyway, this was an enjoyable film. I liked it, and I will watch more. And so thanks to Roy for reminding me about Hopalong Cassidy and encouraging me, indirectly perhaps, but encouraging me to look into the Hopalong Cassidy catalog. And finally, another film, another B-Western from 1937 called Born to the West. It's based on a story by Zane Grey, and it stars John Wayne and Johnny Mack Brown. This was one of John Wayne's, toward the end of his B-movie career before he became a featured star. So this was in 37, Stagecoach came out in 39, and that was really John Wayne's big break as a featured actor. This one's good. A guy comes down from Montana into Wyoming to find his cousin and see if he can help on the ranch. And all kinds of stuff is going on. There's a woman involved. But a really nice film, and one that's I just like the way it's put together. That's what I read this week. I got more lined up. I'm working on another novel now. I'm sure I will be watching more films and movies, and I definitely will have another cowboy poem up on Thursday. So June on the Range continues. It's week 2. We got a couple more weeks and some extra days. So here we go. I hope you're finding enjoyable things for June on the Range. If you want to get into Westerns and you're not quite sure where to start, you can check out any of the channels that I have listed below of the co-hosts of June on the Range. So many great ideas from so many great readers and creators. It has been really enjoyable to see what other people are reading and to be inspired by that. Hope you find something that inspires you. So until next time, my name is Greg. This is Ghost Readers in the Sky. And I am still in search of a tagline. I don't want anything as trite as Happy Trails. It's been done. Let me know if you have any ideas. Doesn't mean I'll use them, but maybe it will inspire me to come up with something that I like and that I can enjoy saying after every video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.